So today we're celebrating the Carry the Load event, April 29th here in Clarkstown. Carry the Load is a national organization, that not-for-profit, that helps to raise awareness and also funds that goes to families of first responders and military that have been injured or killed in the line of duty. They really want to restore the true meaning of Memorial Day, and they celebrate with a major rally down in Austin, Texas. They bring a flag from the two coasts, from the West Coast and from the East Coast. And this is really the second day of the Carry the Load event. They started up in West Point yesterday. They're down here today. Tomorrow, April 30th, they'll actually be they'll be over at Ground Zero, and they do an emotional ceremony at Ground Zero at the Horse Soldiers Monument, and also lay a wreath at Ground Zero. We like to believe, and the Carry the Load folks have told us, that Clarkstown really does a special event here. This is now our 6th year. Each year it grows bigger and better. This year I'd say we probably had between 600 and 800 folks out here, and really just a wonderful way in which Clarkstown does it right and remembers those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for service in our country and as first responders. And I want to thank the folks from Carry the Load, Sean McGee from one of our residents who's a veteran, who actually brought this to my attention when I was a councilman 6 years ago, and we've been continuing and growing it each year. So it's just a wonderful way in which Clarkstown honors our vets and remembers the fallen.
Carry the Load's an incredible experience and interaction way for people to remember those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. What it means to me personally, I think, is very similar to what it means to most people in this area, especially those that experienced 9/11, where we lost so many of our first responders and our veterans thereafter. So it's a really powerful event, and it gets more powerful every year. And to see all the families and the children coming out, it really means an awful lot. Where parents and grandparents are getting back together and are teaching the children what the true meaning of Memorial Day really is. So, me personally, it means everything in the world.
Memorial Day is very simple. We're paying homage to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to support our country. This particular group is representing a lot of people, mostly military, but there's also soldiers, and in addition to the soldiers, there's police officers, firefighters, who have given all that they can possibly give for the community. And just a little bit of appreciation on our part for them.
I'm really proud of all of the people of Clarkstown, but very much with this Carry the Load event. As I said, it gets bigger and better each year. And the folks in Clarkstown really do it right. And right here, there's no other town within this part of the country, certainly within Rockland County, that has an event of this nature. And as I said, I'm so proud. I couldn't be more proud. And the participation from our veterans to our Cub Scouts, our Little Leaguers, our Daisy Scouts, our Girl Scouts, to the teenagers participating in the essay contest, all the way up to senior citizens. You know, we probably have people marching from just a couple of months old, being pushed in strollers, to there were some vets in their late 80s that were participating in this march. And it really speaks well about Clarkstown. There's no other place like Clarkstown. I'm just so delighted and so proud of the people of Clarkstown that do it right.
Loving Father, in the words of the sacred scripture we hear, there is no greater love than this, to lay down one's life for a friend. And it is by your grace and the love that they have for you and for this nation that gave them the strength to lay down their lives. We beseech you, O Lord, to receive these servants of peace into your loving embrace. We also remember the family members of these great heroes. They also suffer great and painful sacrifice. We offer you this prayer knowing that you fulfill the heart's desire of those who seek you with noble intention. May our prayer for true and lasting peace be answered in accordance with your will, for the good of your sons and daughters. We ask you this through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Thank you. The Boy Scout Troop 29 and Cub Scouts representative, would you mind joining on the front of the stage here for they will lead us for the Pledge of Allegiance. We will face the flag hoisted by the fire department truck. If everyone would turn to the flag. All right.
Colors, freeze, and hurt.
Go ahead.
Scouts salute. Pledge allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
Awesome. I'd like to welcome up Rosie Houlihan to the stage. Yes, I'm sorry. Go right ahead. Rosie Houlihan will sing us the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Everyone give it up for the color guard, Clarkstown. And would you please give it up for Rosie for the beautiful rendition of our national anthem. That was awesome. It is my pleasure to introduce our Clarkstown's town supervisor, George Holman. Please welcome George Holman for us.
So good evening, everybody. Just a few brief remarks. I just want to recognize some of the elected officials and some of the folks that helped to bring this together and speak a little bit about why this event is so important. So up here on the stage, next to me is our Deputy Supervisor, Councilman Frank Borelli, Councilman Pat Carroll. I know Councilman Pete Bradley is planning to be here. He's on his way. He had to work with the fire department today, but he'll be here soon. We also want to recognize Judge Howard Gerber, Clarkstown Police Chief Ray McCullough. We also want to recognize out in the crowd Legislator Christopher Carey, Legislator Carey. And working very hard behind the grill is legislator Lori Santulli, along with the Congress Fire Department. Thank you, Lori. I do want to thank as well all the volunteers and all the people that helped put this together, and certainly the folks from the Parks and Recreation Department, Elaine Alphabaum and her staff. I want to thank Dennis Letzen, our director of our facilities and engineering department, and all of his staff, Mike Melton, who cleaned up the park and got everything ready for us today. And again, a big shout out to the Congress Fire Department for all of their efforts, along with Bridges, who and Carlos Martinez, the executive director of Bridges, who really kind of helped coordinate this event with Sean McGee. And of course, I really want to recognize and thank all of our veterans that are here. And we have so many of them, and let's thank all of our vets that are here. You know, about 6 years ago, Sean McGee, who lives off of Patricia Avenue, saw the Carry the Load folks kind of going by in a very solitary procession carrying an American flag. And Sean actually stopped the gentleman and asked him what he was doing, and the guy explained what Carry the Load is. It's a national not-for-profit, and they're trying to restore the true meaning of Memorial Day. And so the Carry the Load folks start off on the East Coast. Back then they just had one leg where they started off on the East Coast, and they would bring the flag all the way down along the East Coast, down south, and eventually end up on May 30th, the traditional day for Memorial Day in Austin, Texas, where their hometown is. And they'd have a very patriotic celebration. And along the way, they would have a few stops where they would really talk about, the importance of remembering the sacrifice of our veterans, and the sacrifice, frankly, of not just our vets, but those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. As Lincoln said, on the field at Gettysburg in November, after that fateful battle that took place in July. In November, when Lincoln attended to commemorate the field, he talked about not having to hallow that ground because it had really been hallowed by those that had paid the ultimate sacrifice. And that's what this is all about today. We're going to commemorate our vets later in the year, but today, for Carry the Load, we're going to think positive thoughts, and we're going to take a moment to remember all of those that didn't come home. As you look over here and I see the magnificent Marine Corps League Color Guard that will be participating in our military honors shortly, every one of those men, and every one of the men and women who are veterans here will tell you, those that served in combat, that they know folks that didn't come home. I'm looking at Commander John Layton, and I know that he personally knew very many folks in Vietnam that didn't come home. Every one of these men and women who served know people that didn't come home. And that's why we're here today. And that's why it's so important for Carry the Load to continue this tradition. And let it be said, as this is really the first or second day of Carry the Load's legs of carrying this flag down the East Coast, down to their final rendezvous on May 30th, let it be said that Clarkstown has done it right. Congress has done it right. We will never forget the sacrifice of those who didn't come home. Just one final note, I want to thank again Sean McGee for all of his efforts with this. Sean really has kind of been the inspiration behind this. Each year it grows bigger and bigger. His company actually is awarding a scholarship that's gotten some of the kids to do an essay, and the winning essay will be receiving a cash award just momentarily. And then later on, just in a few moments, we are going to have military honors where we'll be placing a wreath at the flag. We'll have taps, and we'll have a rifle salute. So thank you all for coming, and at this point I'm going to turn it back over to Carlos Martinez from Bridges. Thank you all.
I just want to thank again the New City Fire Department in the back for grilling the hot dogs and the burgers. Thank you so much for the time you spent today to do that for us. Right now we actually have a very special presentation. The Anchor Trading Scholarship to the person who submitted an essay outlining the true meaning of Memorial Day. If Sedona Boyle is in the crowd, would you please come to the stage? Sedona Boyle. Sedona Boyle wrote a beautiful piece on the true meaning of Memorial Day, and she won $2,500 scholarship. So, come on up. We have a check, a couple of pictures. Come on.
Sedona, congratulations.
Where's Hunter? Come on.
Cheers. Congratulations. All right, congrats.
Yeah, they. Yeah. Congratulations again to Sedona Boyle. Now presented by the United States Marine Corps League and the Rockland County Emerald Society, as well as the Clarkstown Police Department Honor Guard, we will go ahead and start the laying of the wreath. That would happen right there in the middle of the courtyard if you want to turn your attention. If you can clear away from the flagpole in that area, please. That's where the laying of the wreath will occur. Thank you very much.
Ready? Cut. Colors, present, horse. Colors, shoulder, horse.
Please give it up for Rockland County's Emerald Society.
Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Mike Graziano. We're just proud of these veterans that came and sacrificed for their ultimate sacrifice. We're behind them all the way. and we appreciate all the support from the community.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing that the town of Clarkstown, and particularly Congress, does. The turnout, as you saw today, was fantastic for veterans that lost their lives in the service of our country, and obviously a very small thing that we can do, but a really touching and wonderful thing. I'm proud of all the residents of Clarkstown and all the officers of the Clarkstown Police Department that are here today and show up every day.
I actually was part of the group that worked with Sean McGee to start having and hosting this here, and it's something that just seemed to fit perfectly here in Congress. We're really full of hometown pride, and it's just something that we honor and cherish here, our veterans, our first responders, and in particular those that have sacrificed for our freedoms. And the people of Congress, Valley Cottage, really just appreciate tremendously all that these people do for us, and we're willing to give right back to them. And this was just a natural way to do it.
My name is Liz Gessel. I was Sergeant in the United States Army Reserve Military Police from 1997 until 2005. I served one tour in Iraq as a military police officer. The Carry the Load event is a great event to help bring awareness to people that suffer with PTSD, the soldiers, sailors, and Marines that we've lost, making the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms, as well as Memorial Day, where we commemorate the people that have gone before us, so that this way we can enjoy the freedoms that we have this very day.
Congress is truly quintessential Americana. You can't get any more hometown than where we are right now. And it's like I said, this is a perfect fit to host this event year after year, and you can see by the crowds that come out every year and the excitement that builds in the months before getting ready for hosting this.
You know what, it's great to see the support in the community, and not everybody's veterans and not everybody served, and most people know somebody who served, but just to see the support from the community, and people really appreciate what veterans and those that lost their lives have done for the country.
Good evening, I'm Scott Millick, Vice Chair of the Parks and Recreations Commission for the town of Clarkstown. I'm just so pleased to be here to celebrate and honor our veterans and people who have given the ultimate sacrifice and who have died serving our country, our military, and our first responders. We must also always remember our first responders and the sacrifices everybody has made for our community.
I have lots of pride in this town. I don't think any town is better than Clarkstown, showing how happy we are and how much support we have for the people who serve us. And the town putting this on every year, or letting them come through and coming to Congress, it's really hometown America, and it doesn't get any better than this, showing our support.